Well, good morning. I totally forgot about this match. I'm just out of bed. I had to do a couple of things, and just caught a bit of chat in the lobby. And xgamez was saying I think Bankster was here in the nick of time, or maybe the other way around. But anyway, we've got a match in the Cowboy World Championships, and we are well into the first rack, so it looks as if Bankster has had a decent run. He's on 88, just 2 points short of 90. Let's just nip in to the main page to get the tournament up and have a look at the bracket. And just see where they are in the bracket. Well, there we are. So it is a one-loss side. And the winner of this match will go through to play Irby in the next round. So match is underway. xgamez, and these. Well, Bankster doesn't play Cowboy with us in the morning normally, but xgamez does. A little group of 4 or 5 of us, and this is my day off, and normally I would be playing Cowboy, but xgamez has got a pretty good idea of what he's doing, and when he puts his mind to it, he can score, as he needs to do, to get back into this first rack. Now he's gone outward. This is a nightmare for a Cowboy player. Now, if he tries the force follow, he's got a nice hit there, because normally you could just push them all right down in a line and knock each other out the way. And that's a good recovery. The run goes to 33. Now if he pots the 5, he doesn't want to run right over to the left. So he's digging in the cue ball a little bit. And he has run over to the left. And that's a little bit of a problem, because I think he's got no room here, I don't think. Trying to... Ideally, he would have wanted to clipped off the right side of this 3 ball to get to the 1. Yeah, that was never on. But nevertheless, it's still a decent enough response from xgamez. It gets him into the game, but it means also that Bankster's got an easy 1 ball to get to 89, and then if he gets that cue ball half decent, he's trying to just nurse it in. And that will do. Now he's got to be careful here that he doesn't come off the edge of that 5 and go to the 3. And he tried to. That would have been an extra point, and that would have done him. He'd have been over the 90, but he's okay. So he's into the caroms. And this first rack is barely 17 minutes old, but racks can go much quicker if you can put a couple of decent runs together. I was just tabbed out there to check that my live stream actually is working, and it is. And at this time of the morning, which is about 6:17 AM, needless to say, I'm the only one watching. There's nobody crazy like me. Bankster has got into the caroms. xgamez back in. And of course needs to get to 90 as quickly as he can. And a good recovery with the bank. Not in the best of shape though. He may well try drawing to this 5. And if the 1 ball stays up there, well, it won't be there long, but the danger is trying to play a carom to that 1. But he can go 5-3, nice and gentle, doesn't need to slam this because you know what happens. And he doesn't want to go below the 1. He might be a bit too square for comfort here in that 1 ball, so if he gets the 3, he's got to go below the 5, I would think. If he takes the 5, he's got to make sure he has a line to at least try and get to that 1, and this is not ideal. He might be better going for the 3 here. Now he's looking at the 1, but this is dangerous. He could hit the short rail and kick in off the 1. Well, the 1 thing's for certain, where the 1 ball is makes it more difficult, of course, for Bankster. It's in a tighter spot in that corner, and you're always putting yourself at risk if you try and get to it. So gradually, that's another little contribution of 21. Gradually, xgamez is trying to get there, and there's always that possibility. The 5 ball's now not good either. It's dead in the bottom rail here, so he's going to struggle to put anything substantial together here. Now he's got an open table, so if he potted that 1, he went for the bill, he's going to scratch. If he had potted the 1 and clipped that 5, he'd have been in with a chance there. The other thing now is that the 1 and 5 are in the kitchen, so Bankster can't shoot them with ball in hand. He's got to try and go 2 or 3 rails into them, or he's maybe trying to overcut the 3 and just come straight back down the table. Yeah, that's what he's tried, and he's got success, and he's going to have a follow-up as well. That was a good shot. Well, this is a danger. You could hit that bottom side of the 5 and scratch here. Got away with that 1 as well. Now you can go a narrow 2 railer to, and possibly even a 3 railer, but very narrow, very thin. Yeah, you see, it's got to be a lot thinner than you think. You take too much of that 1 ball and you're immediately offline. But nevertheless, it's still a nice little contribution. It's 3, gets him well into the caroms, and now xgamez is under pressure. And I think he can get the force follow here as well. Looks as if it's okay. Oh dear. Oh, that could be fatal. It could be fatal. And that was not a difficult carom. And xgamez has been let off the hook here. This time he must do it. Must get to 90. But above all, he must get that follow-up shot. Well, he's got it. And this is also where you must keep your focus. You've got to be aware that you're getting to 90 and watch what you're potting and watch what you're really scoring. You don't want to blow it. Well, that little double kiss in the 3 is not too bad. I mean, it's a longer distance force follow, but he's had loads of practice at doing these. Loads and loads of practice at these. He's maybe not comfortable with it. I think he'd have been wiser to go for it, because he's pushing this. He's trying to go. He's going to scratch again, and that's a disaster. He should have been brave enough. I mean, the force follow was on, no problem. Okay, it was a wee bit over the distance, but he should have gone for it, and he's gifted bankster ball in hand. Bankster's not comfortable with the force follow. He had an easy ball in hand force follow 1 to 5. He went the more dangerous route, and he's now put the 3 ball awkward for himself, and it might be a very slim lifeline here for X Games. So 97, and we're still only 25 minutes old in this rack, but this is a reasonable enough amount of time for this first rack. It might get prolonged a bit with the rest of the carom phase, but that depends on what X Games leaves bankster. If he leaves it dead set with an easy start for bankster, he could be out. And X Games going for the old draw bailout, not using the rails. And again, the force follow is on. He's got to hit this a wee bit to get the follow through. Now that 3 ball is long distance here. Let's have a look. It will be a force follow. It's so difficult at distance, a very slight line, and he's just gone past it. But of course, the golden rule is don't lose your points, even though it's a 1 pointer, it will still do. And X Games has locked himself behind the 3, but it's an open table, so he can get that force follow. That takes him to 79. Get the 5 on its spot, and he's got an easy follow up. So this is his chance to get into these caroms. And now 84. And if he hits this 5 full in the face, he's pushing it to a pocket, he's skimming off it like that. That's him in 85, and 85 plus 5 in anyone's arithmetic is 90 now. He's not paying attention here. He's not paying attention. Or was he paying attention? Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I'll make the excuse for myself there. I don't think I was paying attention. But he's now in 90. And needs to pull off a shot here to keep his hopes alive in this first rack. And he can't do that. He wasn't sitting good for the carom, so the stir into the 1 way too heavy, and the 1 tracks straight into the hole. And bankster has Oh, he should have had a better... I mean, that was ball in hand. He should have made a better job of that. To just draw onto that 5 ball. That was simple. And he's in a wee bit of a hurry there. No need for panic, considering X Games is back to square one. He's back to 75. But that 1 ball now has gotten itself to a dangerous spot for the outshot. And he's potted a 5 this time. So the scratches and the errors are coming thick and fast here for X Games. Oh, don't tell a lie, he was on a pot. Yeah, you can tell it's early in the morning because I am all over the place. I've not quite got out my bed yet. Now he's done for. Because that 5 ball has just killed the outshot. Well, that's going to be some shot to try and scratch into the same pocket where they are. That'll be a miracle. Well, that is a miracle. That's an excellent shot. That was well worked out. Very well worked out. You played the straight on shot, and luckily both the balls got out of the way, and that was perfect for that outshot. So it's 1-0 and we are 30 minutes into the match. So that's a pretty sharpish first rack. And I'm certainly not sharp. What did I do with my bottle of water? I need a drink. I don't think I've got much left in it, but it'll do for now what I've got left. Cue ball still on the table. Oh, bad miss. Could have been so much more. Only 16. So what's Bankster's response going to be? Tried for the 2-in-1 shot there, missed it. So it's only 8. So in matches like this, you know, you fail really to score in your first visit. Second visit, you've got an easy starter and a chance to build up that lead. And that cue ball again running way loose, taking big risks. And again, I'm being very critical here considering the way I played in the tournament. I played very, very loose, and it doesn't work. Getting that cue ball rolling too much. There's 6 pockets in the table, and it's so easy to find one. But sometimes you do have to be brave enough to take a risk. Might be a bit early in the day to be doing it, but it's now a question of trying to keep them. And straight away now, the way these are finished, it's gone awkward. I mean, there's a bank on in the 5. There's the obvious pot and the one. Neither of them are gimmies. Oh, that's going to hold a line, is it? No, not quite. So, again, it's only a slender lead. Just 18 points. Bankster going for the thin cut, I think. And if that keeps tracking higher up, he's got a little stun onto the one. Bankster can eat into this deficit straight away. Now, the angle is a bit tricky here. It is thin. Might need to make sure he's just not quite picked it there. I mean, that shot was on the little two-railer. It's a very common shot in Cowboy when you're either top end of the table or bottom end of the table, just trying to run a couple of rails to get to the other ball. You become more familiar with it the more times you play it. So once again, xgamez can make any sort of contribution, but it's got to be double figures and preferably something like 30 odd. Needs to get a reasonable little score here. Not a good idea, bankster. Got to get yourself into that game and focus in the game. Never a good idea to be in the stream while you're shooting. Once again, this is not a good shape here for xgamez. And he's hung the three. Had the right idea though in terms of, doing what I'm talking about. When you get awkward situations like that and you can spot a ball, then, stay below it or above it or whatever. Make that decision to give yourself at least some sort of opportunity. Now bankster here is potting a 5 ball. The problem with potting a 5 ball is he has to get good for the follow-up carom because the 3 ball is in the pocket virtually. He should have potted the 3 and got it into play. So now he's going to have to dig out the carom, and that's what happens. You go and miss the carom. If he'd got the 3 ball in the spot and stayed up top, he would have had a much better chance of a follow-up. That's putting all your eggs into one basket and only giving yourself one option. And it's all about options in this phase to try and keep that visit alive. And xgamez has had 2 or 3 attempts here to get away in this rack, and he's really failed so far. He's building up a score, but it's not building up quick enough for my liking, and I'm sure for his. But if he can settle, and again this has got to be thin. He's playing the big stun, took the risk again, got away with it. And it always goes nice and quick when you're working with a 5 ball. Yeah, that's right, Semi. In your mind it is, but maybe because you're more confident in how you manoeuvre the cue ball. I'm talking about guys that are not necessarily that comfortable. So I'm talking about, and this this is a thing that I've raved on about and ranted on about during the tournament. You've got to give yourself options. So it's about knowing your limitations. Now, a player like you would be confident in doing that because you know that you could probably get there. To me, the best option was to pot the 3 and stay up top and at least give yourself a sight of 2 possible caroms. What you saw happening there was bankster, limiting himself to one option, and then he couldn't deliver. And that, hindsight's a great thing. If he'd done what I was saying, he had 2 better opportunities, albeit probably at a bit longer distance, and he could have still been at the table. But of course, we'll never know. But this is the beauty of it, trying to get inside a player's head to work out what they're thinking. And your point of view is probably right in one circumstance, but in the other circumstance where, bankster certainly I don't believe plays any cowboy to any extent. I think it'd have been better for him to have given himself those 2 options. Well, the visit is back on again here for xgamez. The old draw. And the miss in the pot. So 76 to 24. xgamez at the moment is slight favourite in this rack. If his next contribution can get him to 90. But this is where you get the typical rack in Cowboy where you're at the table, you're off and running, and you have a chance to eat into that deficit if you can just keep half decent control. Now this is either make sure you come below the 3 spot or try and dink it to stay above the 3 spot. And now it's sort of not perfect, but it's going for the little draw. And again, when you don't have a decent line and you're not well schooled in playing shots like that in Cowboy, then you end up breaking down very quickly. So it's only 7. And xgamez is getting these opportunities. So how many times we've seen this? We saw it in the match last night. Players are getting opportunities, but nothing is falling into place. Now this needs to bounce. He might get away with this one. Little stun into the 5. 5 ball is still in play. And this is not perfect. Could have done with running a wee bit lower. And he's gone the wrong line to make the 3 ball. So once again, it's only 7. Still favourite though. But the sooner he can get into the caroms, the better for his own welfare in this rack. Well, bankster had a perfect opportunity there to keep the table open. he didn't get enough running in the cue ball because that was running into the 3. And again, you see what happens. Just not familiar with a lot of these shots, got that too thick. But the mistake was made straight away there. You've got to, if you have the opportunity in a good line, you've got to try and get that extra carom when you're playing a pot as soon as you start the visit, because it gives you that open table to keep going. And once again, X Games needs to keep his wits about him. That's now virtually killed the 5 ball. He's on 87, should get to 90, but the chances of extending this run have suddenly gone to very slim and minimal here, and he's still got to keep these points yet. And that was sensible enough, you know, keep the points, don't do something stupid. 5 ball's going to go in its spot because Bankster's got a lot of scoring to do. How did he find that gap? Well, it's not a bad result because again he's left nothing easy for X Games to progress here. Thin off the 5, 1 rail into the 3 is the one option, but too thick in the 5 and a scratch. 5 ball, of course, with ball in hand is out of the game, but there is an easy pot in the 1 to get started. Well, this time he's got the shot right, got the ball in hand, potted the 1, drew to the 5, open table. And now, where he's sitting is pretty good. Gone a wee bit wider on the 3, still is pretty good. Just got to watch the pace in this shot. Oh, a bad miss there for Bankster. I mean, that was not a difficult 1 ball, but I think he was more concerned about where he was going with the cue ball, but where the cue ball's finished wasn't really ideal. And it's not exactly a gimme opener here for X Games either. It looks as if he's trying the draw. Is he trying to overcut the 5? You know, he's going to try the draw to the rail, or try direct this time. That worked. But it's a struggle because they're just not dropping into place. Again, another go at this thin edge using the rail. Struggling again. So he's only going up in 1s. It needs to be more than that to really apply the pressure. And Bankster again has missed the pot, given X Games. Again, not an easy layout here to get started. You can go left edge of the 1 straight to the 5 ball. Well, again, if it works, it's the force follow. If you're not happy, go right edge of the 3 and 1 rail or 2 rails into that 5 ball. And he's not paying any attention to it at all. You see that shot there, if he was finished there, I mean, the shot is always to go right side of the 3 and go into the rail and into the 5. Bankster avoiding that like the plague, and you can tell that he doesn't really play cowboy, because that shot is just an open invitation to a regular player to play that edge to get to the 5 in the rail. And that's the one way to certainly pick out who plays cowboy and has played it on a regular basis and who hasn't. It's easy to spot that there with Bankster. Cue ball having to run again. And of course, xgamez running the cue ball finds the pocket, and there goes the 2 points. And Bankster, slowly but surely, he will creep ever closer. I'll be back in a minute. Need to get a bottle of water. Right, I'm back. What have I missed? Well, xgamez is still stuck in 91. Well, the shot's definitely the right edge of the 1 to the 3, but he might have gone too soon. Oh, he's just caught it. And this is a perfect scenario where cowboy becomes very frustrating at the carom phase, because xgamez is struggling to get into shape each time to get a follow-up carom and construct something. All the time this is going on, Bankster is creeping ever closer, and then you get a bit panicky, you get a bit nervy, desperate to pull off a shot to get a carom, and the inevitable can happen, you end up scratching. big target area off the 5 ball to get to 1 and 3. And he pots the 5, which is a bonus. And now a delicate bottom edge of the 1 onto the 3. You see banksters drawn into this pot the 5 ball and get as many points as they can. And it's not a bad thing, but he's leaving himself at further distance to get the backup carom. And he's got it. And rapidly approaching 90. And this 5 ball will get him there. And he's right down xgamez neck here. Dangerous carom to follow. If he can get this 1 thin enough, he can kick in behind the 3 if he's brave enough. But he's going the delicate route and he ain't got there. You see, that's where he should have taken the option of going bottom side of the 1 to skim to the 3, and his 20 odd points have all gone. He was right on 90, and xgamez has took a big risk and got away with it. 3 ball is now almost dead. And it's another visit that may well end up just being 1 or possibly 2, because he's obviously limited by what he can use here, just the 1 and 5. I'll pot the 3, easy follow up, that's guaranteed. Get that cue ball up the table. And possibly pot the 1 here. I think it's good enough to pot the 1 and still stun into that 5 ball, bring it into play. And there's, again, he's shaping up here to try and get to that 90 again. xgamez on 94. So delicate edge of the 5. Well, he had the line to play the force follow. Good shot. Now, can bankster keep these points this time? And now he's going to have to pull off a pot to stay at the table. Reasonable enough on the 3 ball. And probably should just follow through slightly. Because once the 3 spots, I mean, he's looking at the thin cut in the 5. If he's happy with that, that'll work just as well, because the 5 will spot. And he's got the easy follow-up. That was the better shot. So now he's 6 away from the carom phase. Now, he doesn't want to get greedy here. I mean, the pot is on the 5, and I think he was in 2 minds there. You know, he's missed the 5. But I think he was maybe in 2 minds of either stunning to get a shallower angle in the 3 to go from the 3 to the 5, or he might have been trying to get a bump in the 3, I don't know, but either way he's missed the 5. And again, xgamez scores 1 and now pushes the 1 ball dead for him. He might live to regret this. Well, that's a good shot. I mean, these are like gold dust, these caroms at this phase. Takes him to 96. Now I think you've got to just... Well, he's going to let it rip here. So a vital visit of 2 points takes him on to 96. It gives him a wee bit more of a comfort zone at this stage. The bankster may have gone here. The cue has disappeared. He might have left the building. No activity, no cue. Pop-up message may well appear any minute now. Yeah, there we go. So now we have a 5-minute deadline for bankster to get reconnected and back into the game, or he could end up forfeiting. Well, this is taking longer, slightly longer than normal if it's just a quick drop out and reconnect. Now for us in the UK at this time of day, well, I mean it's gone 7 AM, but normally if there's any sort of maintenance by your provider, it's usually done in the middle of the night. They try and do things like that so it's not impeding on peak hours. But it is late at night in the States, which I'm assuming that's where bankster is. I'm pretty certain he is. xgamez is definitely in the States. And it's possibly midnight or beyond. If it was West Coast that he's on, it's like 11 PM at night, Pacific side. So either way, it's late in the States. Now this is getting Well, he's back. Just got in. I mean, that was like a 3-minute timeout there. But he's back in business. And now he's on 86, so he can't pot the 5. A little drop through. He should have the easy follow-up here. He has to keep that 1 ball in play because he can't pot anything else other than the 1 ball next shot once he plays this carom. Must have some sort of shot in the 1 if he's going to continue. And this will work. Plus, when the 1 goes on its spot, he's also got a nice angle. So he, again, he could try and bump the 5, but it might not be wise to do that. Just get himself up top there and assure himself of an easy carom to get to 90. And this is where the hard work starts in this game. Going for the old draw again, trying to spin into it, didn't quite get there. And once again, how many times the table is just ugly here for XGames. He's not got an easy starter. I mean, he can go 5-1. It is a target to hit though. He's got to get the spin in the cue ball, and that has got him there. If he tried to force follow here, it looks as if the 5 might catch some of that 3. And he's missed it and caught the 3. Where's the 5 ball going? No, there's the problem again. And there go the points. As vital as they are, the points have gone. Good morning to Cobra. First rack in this match was half an hour. Bankster must have made some sort of a decent contribution because he had a big lead in the first rack when I eventually got the stream up and running, because I got up this morning, totally forgot about this match. Was hoping to get a game of doubles, and then realised these 2 were underway. Well, Steve, I've made the little video on the YouTube channel. I discovered last night that Steve had done an update to VP4 as far as the match goal is concerned in Cowboy. Cowboy was always played over 1 rack, and that little feature suggestion that was suggested to him, he has added it into the game. So now, if you want to play a match, a race to 3 or a race to 2 in Cowboy, you can do that online, just like it is in the tournaments. These are all races to 3 in this tournament, apart from the final, and you can now do that in normal play, normal match play. Of course, that doesn't affect challenge rooms. Challenge rooms are always a race to 1. Winner stays on. Bankster into the caroms. XGames still favourite to tie the match here. Got a reasonable force follow to the 1. Now, how's this looking? Let's have a look at the 3 now. That's not great. What am I talking about? He's in 100. Well, he should always be out here if he doesn't get the double kiss. He should always be out. Yeah, double kiss, it's done him. Really delicate little touch you need there. The double kiss is always a very likely thing to happen when it's tight. And bankster pots the one, which might not be a bad thing in actual fact, because xgamez has, well, he's got one option. If he can get the one ball out of the way and push it up table in a line towards that 5 ball, he can try the force follow into that top left hand corner. He can also try the side pocket. Neither of them are easy, but the force follow to the top left is one shot he can go at, but the one ball needs to stay out of the way. And you see there's the likelihood of that happening, colliding with that one ball as you try and get up to the pocket. I don't know that he was on a great line, but it was always a problem. It's always a hazard. But you know, you're so drawn to the shot, you just have to take the risk anyway when you're on 100. And bankster, like every cowboy player, just has to keep plodding away and just try and get there. Well, this isn't bad. Takes him to 95. The run is 3. And that might not be bad either. Let's have a quick look at that one. Yeah, it's not great. He's dead straight. And now needs a recovery shot. And that now has given xgamez his second go at trying to get out here. And again, it's not ideal. Let's have a look at what his options are. Now he's calling. Well, you've got to get into the cue ball slightly here. Yeah, he didn't get into it slightly. It's again very difficult to judge. And again, all the time, this is the perfect scenario. You struggle, and all the time your opponent can nip away and nip away. There's obviously the risk that he has to take. The risk that bankster takes is he may well always be leaving in some sort of shot or attempt at this scratch for xgamez, but you just have to go with the flow. You're pretty much at death's door in the rack. And he's in no great shape here either. Now this is a much better opportunity for xgamez to tie this match up. This is a stunt. Yeah, get into it too much. And once again, it looks like, well, it might not be. Let's have a look. Oh yes, it is. An easy starter now. He needs to watch the pace because he wants to keep this one around the angles towards the 3. You see, he's not got it over to the 3, so he's now trying to work from the 5 to the 1, which will do as well. But I think he should have pushed that one right over to the 3. He could have been home and dry. But he's on 97, and now everything's loose. I think his opportunity would have been better had he got that one round to the 3. So this is a vital attempt at a carom here for bankster. Well, I think I would be playing the right side of the 1, maybe with a bit of left English to try and get the line, create the line. See, he didn't create the line there. If you don't think the line is on to get to that 3, then you've got to play with a bit of left English and hit the object ball thin enough so that the English will straighten the cue ball towards the line that you want to get to that 3. And another I mean, this is still another good shot to get out on. And that's, you know, sooner or later, the Cowboy player's going to find his way out. And a sigh of relief for X Games to square the match. So that rack took 43 minutes. That was a much longer rack. And straight away, Bankster's missed the pot. X Games has a simple enough starter. And immediately can try and take control of this rack, but he's missed the carom onto the 3. So not an auspicious start to this rack. Well, he can, I think he can stun into the 1 with that angle. And now it's awkward. Needs a follow-up pot. And nothing is sitting ideal. Cut up the rail. We'll at least keep him at the table. And that's gone to the rail too soon. So X Games has been reprieved early on. Might go for the extra point here, which he has done. Gives him open table. Can get the 1 ball back in that spot and stay below the 1. That's let's have a look. That's very tight, and that's going to skim behind the 3. So these visits are getting short and sweet early on in this rack. This could be a long one. Two rails to the 5, but he's trying to draw to the 5. I mean, he's got away with it that time, but it's again the reluctance to use the rails for these players will eventually catch them out. So the lead is slowly but surely just building up. Contribution is only 20, but vital that you keep them if the match is going to be, you know, bits and pieces in each visit. then it's always important you keep whatever you get. Now he's in trouble again. Needs a recovery pot. Got to watch this cue ball running loose here. Well, he's checked the cue ball up to make sure he wasn't doing any scratching. Gets a bonus 2 points for hitting each of the other object balls. And Bankster now might be settling down a little bit again here. Now what does he do? Take the 1 on the side and run over to the left. If he pots the 5, how good a follow-up shots he got. Well, this is simple enough. Just gentle and thin, keep the 5 ball in play and just catch that 3 ball with nothing else than a feather. And he's missed it. So the run ends in 34, but the vital part of it is he's kept them. And the lead is, 39 or something. And that still might be good enough. And this has immediately gone awkward for xgamez. And it'll probably be a basic, simple little draw here. So what's the response going to be? Is xgamez going to keep his attention and focus? Again, needs a recovery shot. And now it's gone ugly quickly here. The follow-up carom is by no means set. He's going for the draw again. And no sooner than it started, it's all over. And this is why I'm saying that the lead might not be massive, but it's still good enough when your opponent's just struggling to construct something. You can just creep away and become favourite in the rack. The big race when both players are a wee bit inconsistent or struggling to find runs and keep them is always get to 91st. That is the golden rule. You must get to that carom phase, you must get started, and you must keep the points. So at the moment, even as early as this, Bankster's the favourite. But that can easily be wiped out if xgamez can put a score on whatever visit he takes to do it. And right now he's got that chance. Bankster's missed the pot. 5 ball staring right down the barrel into the side pocket. May well have the 5 to the 3, depending where he pushes the cue ball, or he can have 5 to 1. So 5 to 1, at that angle he has to be careful. He's probably easier going 5 to 3. And now the 3 ball is awkward. Well, he can try and stunt to the rail and kick the 3 out from there with this angle in the 1. It's the shot he's going to play. Cue ball stays in the table. 1 ball comes into play, and he knows that he's got the guaranteed follow-up. The carom is already set. Now, if he's straight enough on the 1, he could pot the 1 and draw to the 5 and bring the 5 ball in play. Let's have a look. No, he hasn't. Yeah, he's just the wrong angle on the 1. It's not necessarily a shot that you're just getting greedy on, but it's a productive shot to bring the 5 ball into play, but he didn't have the angle to do it. Again, running it with the cue ball, but he does keep his points. So he's back to 20 behind. Bankster can see the 5. 5 goes into the spot, and again, guaranteed follow-up shot here if you just put the cue ball somewhere along the bottom rail, but he's drawn back and he's killed it straight away. I mean, that was not the shot anywhere along here with the cue ball, which he could have done. He was fine. He was never going to miss the carom, and now he's put himself in a hole here straight away. And this is all the encouragement X Games is going to need to see that Bankster can't capitalise with that first shot there. And he's managed to get the little draw across the 1, recovered the situation. It's all about trying to make your life easier. Now, not a problem seeing the 3. Play the 1, stun onto the 3. Looks like the safer option. And if you can see the 3, cut the 3 and stay bottom end of the table here for the 5-1 carom, which is unmissable. Again, even that shot, if he had played it a little bit more gentle, he could have kept the 5 ball in play. Cue ball hasn't rolled through nicely in the 3. Trying the recovery bank shot in the 5. The visit ends on 16. And this is allowing X Games, if he takes the opportunity, it has to be said, it's allowing him just to stay in touch. So the 5 ball getting potted, the little skim off the 3, open table. And the 5 ball on the side, skim off the 3, open table again. So 2 shots have given him 12 points. Delicate. And is the cue ball staying in the table? Yes, it is. So the visit is only 13. And that's just not making the mark. It needs to be more than that to get right back into this. And Bankster, well, I'm not sure whether he played the pot or the bank there, but again, it's let X Games off the hook. He's got a reasonable force follow here, or the pot, obviously, because it's an open table. Could go for both. And again, it's not finished great. Cut the 1, cut the 5. Neither of them are dead certs. That's a good shot. Cue balls in the ideal position here for the follow-up. Five balls now going to go dead to the rail. So even if he pots the one here, the cue ball's not going to be in a great position. He's potted the three. And he may well go for the draw to the five. Well, now the obvious shot is cut that five down the rail. You're staying at the bottom end of the table here and giving yourself at least one half decent option for the force follow. But he's going for the stun. He doesn't trust his force follow. And again, the visit is short. He's still trailing bankster, and bankster can pull away again. Little bonus point. Big hit in the one ball here, I think, with the stun. Well, he's confident enough that he had a decent line to get there without banging it. And once again, I think he's dead straight in the three. Now that'll do. Managed to squeeze something out of it. And fine to continue. So he's on 72. And now this is where he's got to get the arithmetic working to make sure he doesn't lose focus on the HUD and do something daft, which we have all done at this stage in the rack, and ran over the 90. Now this is slightly more dangerous if he's going to go to the one ball, because if he goes to the rail and kicks the one ball, he could easily scratch. He's going to go two rails, I think, and he's missed a five ball. It was a big target, and xgamez off the hook again. He'll have the three ball in the bonus point here, I think. Keep the table open. Probably a carom again, I would suggest. 3-1. Well, I would still be potting a three here. I wouldn't be potting a five. Pot the three and get back up the table. Give yourself a choice. You see, he's potted the five, and now he's got nothing easy here. If he'd potted the three, he would have been looking up table options. Now he's got to pull off a recovery shot. Wrong shot choice there, I think. But he's got it. He's back in business. And bankster's gone again. So this is his second disconnect. Now, of course, what this does is it breaks up the rhythm for xgamez. He's now got to reconsider this shot in the five. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . And when Bankster went the first time, it was like 3.5 minutes before he got back into the room. Well, I am starving. I have had no breakfast yet, and I am vitally in need of breakfast. The old stomach is rumbling. It wants feeding, but it might be quite a bit of time yet before it gets to see the light of day. You know, these disconnects and reconnects for Bankster are a little bit worrying, just from the point of view that, you know, if it gets to 3.5 minutes and he's still struggling to get back in, then it gets to a vital stage. The timeout is 5 minutes. Oh, what I wouldn't do for egg and toast or scrambled egg and toast. I mean, oh goodness me, that's going to make it worse. You know what I had yesterday? Two little, I buy these little, they're like burgers, but they're more like something similar to what you would get at McDonald's in a breakfast. What do you call it? What do you call the breakfast muffin? Yeah. And what I do is I've got a little frying pan, a little round frying pan, a little tiny one, you know, one that's just big enough to hold an egg. And I put one of those little sort of burger things in the microwave and get my little bit of oil in the little frying pan, have my little buns buttered. I had two of them yesterday morning for breakfast. Get the frying pan up to heat, and then put the egg in the frying pan. So I've got a nice round egg. Bust the yolk. Put the little thing in the microwave for a minute, and then I flip my egg over. And you know, within a minute and a half or so, I've got my first little breakfast bap, or sort of breakfast muffin type, with my little burger thing on top of my egg, and then the brown sauce on top of that. Absolutely beautiful. Get two of them in the morning. That sets you off nice. Cup of coffee or a cup of tea to wash it down. And what's more, I've got more of them left, so I could have that this morning. Now you've got me thinking of food. And Bankster, coming back to the table, has scored nothing. And this is about the 5th time that xgamez has had a chance to get himself back on par. And no easy starter again. Now, Bankster could do this the harder way. He's going for the thin cut and the 3 down the rail. The benefit would be that the 3 will spot, but he's got to watch he doesn't get an extra point by hitting that 5, and he's avoided it. Oh, this is so thin. Yeah, I mean, that I would struggle with that every day. Scrambled egg on toast. Again, you've got to have brown sauce on it. Oh, yeah. And the beauty about that as a breakfast is it's, you know, what you don't want to do is spend 20 minutes making a breakfast. You want to get up, boom, bang, thank you, ma'am. It's down the neck, and you're set up for the day. It takes you all of what, 3 minutes to get your toast ready, get your butter or whatever it is you put on it, your eggs ready, and the next thing you know, it's gone. Again, another very brief visit from xgamez. Bankster going for the pot again. Well, how many opportunities does xgamez need? He seems to have been stuck in 74 for like an eternity. He'll get the upper hand if he can get to 91st from this position. I think he's blocked out on the pot into the side pocket. He might be going force follow on this 3 ball to the 5. No, he could see the 5. Still can't pot it though. So this is a much easier opportunity now to get to 90 and come up the right hand side, get bottom side of the 3 so he can go 3-5. But he's got to stun it. And this is going to be lost points again. He's gone over the map, potted the 3, and there is a 3 to the 1 shot here if he wanted to start with a carom. But he's starting with the pot, so again, missing the pot. You can't be missing those. That was not difficult. He's thinking about the cue ball, but he's got to think about the pot as well. So here we go again. Bankster gets to 90. Now is he going to keep the points? Is he going to go the 2 or 3 railer to the 5? You see, he's refusing to play the shot. Always playing the draw shot as a backup. I would always be going for the 2 or 3 railer to that 5 ball there off the 3. It's a big target to hit. Well, he's only in 92, and once again, here we go. Well, this needs to be gentle to pot this 3 ball and just stay there or thereabouts. And that's good enough. That will do. A post follow to the 5. Again, he's got choices. If he plays the 5 though, he's coming down the table. He won't be sitting good. I think, you know, look at where the cue ball is. This 3 ball, I would have potted that and tried to play a 3-5 somewhere along the line. And now it's a big stun to get to the 5 and running loose. And xgamez is messing about far too long here. But he's diminishing his opportunities and chances to survive this rack. That's going to scratch. No, I thought it was going to miss the 3 and just run into the hole. But you'll take what you can get away with. They're all vital. Now is the spin working? Well, the line was good. Well, this is tricky. Trying to get the force follow, but of course with that line you're always in danger of colliding with the first object ball you've hit. Unbelievable. And look at what bankster's been left here. I mean, this is Christmas come early. Oh, if he can mind his work here, he's got a good chance of getting out. He's got to bank this 3 ball out far enough, which he has done. And now he has to get to the long rail off this 3 and just chip the 5 from the long rail on the left. He doesn't want to go direct. Oh, that's a numpty shot. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I mean, that's staring you in the face. You've got to go thin to the rail and just chip the 5 from the left side. I'm pretty certain the shot was on, but that was not the shot. Well, sooner or later, X Games is eventually going to get to 90. I mean, that visit there from Bankster could have been like 98 to 9 or 99. He could have been pretty much over the line, and that's a big fail. And X Games has got to 90, but he's going to be doing a bit of blasting here, I think. Or is he just going to go thin? Hasn't got the legs. But crucially, eventually, at last, he's got to 90. But how much is he going to be chasing down Bankster, who goes to 95? Probably not going to score that much more off this. He's trying to spin to the bottom rail and get up onto the 5. And that works. Well, can he get the edge? Yes, he can. That will do. Goes to 97. Maybe a little stunny draw to the 3. Oh, again, just skimmed past it. And he's given X Games, well, I was going to say he's given him a start here, but it's going to have to probably the 3 railer. Well, X Games hasn't put the legs into that cue ball. I don't think he was going to make the carom, but he didn't give it enough weight to get the cue ball moving. Well, there's a dangerous shot here. Got to watch that 3 ball. Got to overcut it slightly, and he has just caught the edge of the 5. Now the 1 ball is sitting great for the outshot here. He's on 99. He's got to watch he doesn't pot the 3. And, well, again, the double hit here is on. That 1 ball needs to go out the way very fast. It's touch and go whether he can get away with this. Well, he's hit it too straight. I think I think he feared the double kiss. I think it was odds on he was going to double kiss that. But he's on 100. And he's well in the driving seat here. It's a long trek from 90 to 101 from here, especially the way these balls are lined up. This is horrible. And look at the 5 ball. And that's what happens. Post follow into the side pocket is narrow. But it is the best line and the best shot to be playing. So the chase is on for X Games, and if these can just fall into place, he could get 2 or 3 quick caroms here and give himself a lifeline. And the closer that 1 ball gets to this bottom corner pocket, the better outshot that Bankster will have. And X Games dangerously pushing the 3 to the pocket, and now he's going to have to try and go 2 rails to the 3 off this 1. That's a shot. I don't know why he's looking at the 3, because the shot is from the 1 to the 3. Yeah, wrong shot. Had to go 1 to the 3 there, because that was a decent enough line to get to the 3. The 3 was a big target. Refused to take it on. And it looks as if Bankster might... Oh no, he's there. Let's have a look at this one. Let's have a quick look round. And he is out. And that was a big mistake by X Games there. He had to play the little 2-railer to the 3 ball. And Bankster now, I think that one was half an hour, that rack. Bankster into the lead, 2 racks to 1. X Games breaking off in rack number 4 and didn't get the pot. Bankster's probably going to have to play the combo here. Yeah, can't see the 3. It's so difficult for players like Bankster in a totally unfamiliar environment. You know, doesn't play much in a 10-footer at all, predominantly the 9-footer. Doesn't play Cowboy very much, I don't think. And there's just certain shots that players that are new to Cowboy are not comfortable with. Certain shots that once you do become comfortable with, you will eventually become a lot more productive. And the more often you tackle, though, this is what you have to do, though. This is what I do. As much as I'm no good, I'm always willing to take on those more difficult shots, because I'm convinced that the more often you do it, the more you'll learn them, the more you'll become comfortable with the line and what you're doing with the cue ball to get there. But simply refusing those shots, I don't think helps your game. relying on the draw shot all the time, which, you know, a lot of the time it isn't successful when there's maybe just a natural angle to use the rails to get there. So all of these factors, if you're brave enough to start taking on the shot, seeing what line you have to hit the object ball to get that cue ball coming off the rail right, the more you do these things, familiarity brings more productive shots, more points, more consistent runs, and you become an all-round better player for it. But again, this tournament, once it's over, I think pretty much all of these guys will revert back to what they're familiar with. It's a sort of nice little change for them, a nice little challenge, but they might not be won over by Cowboy. So, again, a nice little dink of a pot and a one ball, stay right side of the table, or go two rails and come back across. So he's staying right side. He's got the guaranteed carom as a follow-up. And he's immediately got a deficit to make up here before he starts scoring, really. X Games has always got the possibility of stringing a run together. I've got no doubt of it because, you know, when he's playing doubles and when we're playing doubles together, or whether he's with another partner, you know, obviously the partner's job is to set up your shot for your teammate, and you know, when he's focused, when he doesn't have YouTube running and he puts his mind to it, it can be very helpful in the construction of a half decent run in a game of doubles. So he's out there on his own, and the difference there is that his runs are going to be tempered by maybe not being the best potter of the ball, you know, to give you that backup shot to get to the next carom. He's doing more thinking in this version of the game, the singles version, because you've only got yourself to back yourself to get to that next shot. And but if he really gets on the ball, he can put runs together. I mean, he's on 30 here. The objective now is not to get crazy and fritter them away. Well, playing the cut in the 5, gets the 5 on at the spot, guaranteed carom to follow it up. And this is where you've just got to be careful. I mean, this is getting to the painful stage where you take a risk and lose all these points. He must keep these points. I mean, he's looking around and looking around. I mean, he thinks he's in a carom here, or he's playing the bank. Can he not see the one? I mean, he can see the one clean. Why is he not potting the one and staying below them? I mean, this is nuts. Now again, he's not paying attention, and this is what I'm talking about. You know, half the time he's messing around in YouTube, but in this case he's in 39, and he's kept his points. But there was a one ball staring him in the face there to keep this run going, and he's decided he needed some sort of bank in the 3 ball, and that's a big fail. It's 39 points, but it's a big fail from not being aware of exactly where he was. And this is what can happen. You get so drawn in to playing shots, and you lose the sequence. So it's either of those two that's happened there. He's lost the sequence, thought he was... I mean, why he didn't think he could get to the one is beyond me. If he was playing that 3 ball, was he trying to play a carom? So I'm totally confused. And, you know, it could have lost him the match, because who knows what he could have scored there if he'd kept his wits about him. You know, he could have been well over 50 odd. A good solid run. It's a run of 39, but it has to be said it's way short of where it could have ended up being. All for the mistake that he made there. Bad shot choice. Big fail. And Bankster has let him off the hook again. The visit is 11. He's trailing before. xgamez comes to the table, trying to redeem himself for that big error on his last visit. Cue ball's leaking away. That's going to drop. Yeah. And this is getting careless. Quick look at the bracket to see. Well, I did mention earlier it's Hervey that's lying in wait for the winner of this match, and that could be one step too far for whoever comes through this match. I think Hervey's probably more consistent all round in constructing points in this game. I think he's probably going to end up being a favourite regardless of who he plays. Quick look at the schedule, and we can see that we have just the 2 matches remaining at the moment, but it's a big match later today at 7 PM GMT. We've got Albinario, who can be considered a very strong favourite to do well in this tournament. But Albinario is going to get his first real big test against VP Monster. No doubt about that. VP Monster, well experienced in this game, can be a heavy scorer. His only concern is he's potting at the moment because he's been away for a while, has been back the last few weeks, and he knows himself that Albinario is capable of punishment given the chance. But Albinario has to be wary. Albinario's never online at this time, so I don't think Albinario's really seen VP Monster playing. And that's an interesting thing. I don't think Albinario's really seen VP Monster playing Cowboy. So he might not really be aware of the calibre of player he's up against, but I don't think that really phases Albinario. He just plays his game, and usually that's a pretty good way of dealing with things. So if VP Monster is on his game, Albinario is going to be tested, or at least that's what I'm expecting. If he finds his form and can keep the runs going by maybe digging out an awkward pot if he needs to, then he's very skilled at working out the caroms, trying to gather balls and finding ways out. So most certainly, I mean, tonight we're going to get a match where it's most certainly a race to 90. Forget the race to 101. It's a race to 90, and I'll tell you this now: if VP Monster can get to 90 in each of these racks that they play tonight, he's going to be strong favourite to win the match. I've no doubt about that. His caraming is good, because that's the skilled art in any sort of billiard game, and VP Monster will always be the favourite if he can get to 90 plus. So that is where you have to be concentrating tonight. Who gets the 90? If Monster gets it, I'm saying he's favourite. But you never know how things can pan out. But I'm reckoning that's a fair assumption of what's likely to happen. If he can get to that race to 90, I'm putting him as favourite in each rack. Well, I'm not rooting for anybody. I'm wanting a good game. I mean, this is, Albinario been a very skilled player, and back into Cowboy, which is a game he doesn't really play. Let's be honest, doesn't play it at all really, but adapts to games. And the longer he plays in the tournament, the more adaptive he becomes. He's got enough knowledge of what he's doing and how he's manoeuvring the cue ball and stuff to build runs together. But I think for the all-round game, VP Monster's the favourite. It stands to reason that the amount that he's played, and having seen how he plays, he's got all the weapons in his armoury that he can use in this game tonight. So we expect a good standard. We expect some good runs. And I'm looking forward to it. Bloody football will be on the night again as well. I'll miss the football for it, but that isn't a worry. And Steve says he'll be there tonight. Well, I finally got. I think I've got One Pocket Slim, but I've yet to actually see him in the commentary booth. He wouldn't go into the commentary booth last night to just test that he can actually have access to it, but I've done everything I can, I think, on Discord. Bear in mind, nobody's got a clue how it works. I think I've done everything to allow him access. So if he shows up tonight, then I'll leave it to him and Steve to get on with it, and I can watch the football. What game's on tonight, Cobra? Because I haven't looked. There's one on this afternoon, and then there's one on tonight, I would assume. And if there's one on tonight, then I'll watch it on my phone while those two are commentating. At least that's a tactical plan. It wouldn't be even if I'm commentating it myself, I'll still have the phone on watching the football, just keeping a tab on the score. And that's well, it's. I mean, I go. Oh, is it a 2-day break? Oh, well, that's fine then. I go back to 1970 That's the first World Cup I can remember, because I can remember watching the final with Brazil and Italy. And that's, I mean, in all the World Cups I've seen, I've never seen a World Cup with as many surprise results. I mean, it's probably safe to say that even those surprise results and the fact that there's some big guns have gone south and gone home, it's still going to be a good team that wins this event. It's not going to be like an outsider that will win this. And each time one of the contenders drops out, England's chances suddenly improve. But the biggest obstacle that they've got is Kylian Mbappe for France. How do England keep tabs on him? I mean, England's got plenty of pace in their team, and they're going to have somebody on him with pace, because that guy has got legs on him. I mean, he's a bloody sprinter. So England's got enough talent in their team to take France out, but what they don't want is I think England have got to go full pelt for the win. I don't think England can face going to extra time and penalties. They've had so many nightmares in World Cups from doing that. Well, Bankster is now strong favourite to win this match. xgamez chasing and struggling, and Bankster should be on 90 after this visit. But again, you've got to get the arithmetic right. Well, he's played the carom. I don't know why, because now he's got a tough follow-up. Looking for a pot when he could have got rid of that 5, got it on its spot, out into the table for the 5-3. I mean, that was crazy. So he likes to do things the hard way. He doesn't want to simplify things. Get rid of the 5. Well, he's playing a big draw here. No, he's just stunning into line, but he's fell short. He's fell way short here. Each time you fall short, you have to run the cue ball, which, and again, I'm perfect example of that, because I was always having to run the cue ball to try and stay at the table, and more often than not, you find pockets, you end up scratching. Well, Bankster now has no option to get rid of this. He's got to get rid of the 5. He's on 82. I mean, you've got to get that 5 on the table, or on its spot anyway. I think he's dead straight. He could pinch a bit of the jaw just to try and manoeuvre the cue ball. Well, this is tough. Not easy at distance to trust your eye line. It looks as if he's trying the thin edge here, but to me, you've still got to go for the force follow. But this is an unfamiliar territory for Bankster. He's trying to cut and run up the table. Danger with the cut is well, what was he on? He was in 87. Well, that would have took him to 88, so he'd have been fine. Sorry, 89. He would have been fine had he potted the one. Well, it's last chance saloon for xgamez. I believe this must end on him being on 91st, and immediately he's missed the follow-up carom. Is that going to hold in? Yeah. So that gets him to 90, but the prospects of continuing the run again are limited by the one ball being where it is. It's one ball less to work with. Well, xgamez cannot say he didn't have a chance to survive in this match, and he still does. But it's vital that he gets to 90. Vital that he gets there. He can't mess about in 3 or 4 visits here and still be short of 90. So open table. Still back on 73. And missing not a difficult pot, I'm afraid. Or did he play the carom? We'll never know, because he had an open table, didn't he? We won't know what he played there. And bankster now can eat into these caroms. Got to be careful though. This 3 ball, if he hits it full, he's pushing it to the pocket, which he's done. And again, that's immediately killed his prospects here. He can go, he can overcut the 1, go to the rail and kick the 5. Just catches it. And yeah, double kiss. And it couldn't have finished any uglier for xgamez. This is horrible. He's hampered over the 3. I think he can cut the 5. As long as the 3 ball stays there for bankster, it's going to be tough to be very productive. But he's got the 1 to the 5. Trying to go direct. This time, 3 ball will be back in its spot. And if he leaves the cue ball where the 3 ball is, he'll have a long distance 3 to 1 carom. I think it's got to be the force follow though, because trying to play the thin edge at distance is not easy. Once again, he should be potting the 1 and drawing back off it to leave the 5 to the 3, which he's done. And now this needs to be gentle to keep the 3 ball in play. He doesn't want to be bumping this too heavy. See, that's too heavy, but he's got away with it because it's come into play on the cue ball, so he's fine. Now he may well leave himself a 5-3, or following Mario, get himself up top, but he's going to scratch. Far too heavy. Slim, now that you're awake, get yourself into Discord to do a test, please, if you can, because I'm not there at the moment. Well, X Games 79. This is going dead straight. He's going to have to run again with the cue ball. And it's gone dead straight pretty much for Bankster. I mean, he can dare he use a rail here, or is he going to try the big stun to get to the 1, or is he going to try the draw? He's trying to cut and let the cue ball run, just tabbing out a sec. Well, a 2-pointer this time to start. He's on 86, which limits him in what shot choices he can take. Can't pot the 5. And he's banked to 1. Takes him to 89 with the carom. And that gets him on to 90. Now this again got to be a delicate touch here. This 5 ball, he doesn't want to send it to the pocket. I mean, it's not pretty in terms of what he's been left here to follow it up, but vital that he keeps his points. And the chances are he's banking the 5 back into the next carom. Well, it hasn't gone far enough, the 5, but he can certainly overcut the 1 and go to the rail and kick the 5. Oh, if that 1 ball had more legs. Right, Cobra, thanks for joining us. Have a nice day, as the Americans say. Have a nice day. One thing's for certain, it's Baltic outside, so wrap up warm. Well, X Games run ends on 9. More importantly for him, he's on 93. Bankster takes the lead again. Right, hang on a minute. Good morning.
Good morning, Hugh.
There you go. You're finally in. By the way, Slim, no wonder nobody could find you in Discord. Because you've put your name as One Pocket Slim, then open brackets, then John, then close brackets. That's why we couldn't find you. You've got to give us your full name.
I gotta change that, don't I?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can edit your name and just get rid of the John part and just keep it as One Pocket Slim as it is in VP4.
Yeah, I signed up for Discord about the same time you did in 2017.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah.
I haven't changed anything since.
Well, X Games is hanging on by the skin of his teeth here because he's on 94. Well, tell a lie, he's just scratched again and lost his point. Commentator's curse.
Yeah, how's this match been going so far?
Well, it's, I mean, X Games is the more experienced Cowboy player, but he's been faffing around far too long. Has been given umpteen opportunities to get to 91st Didn't get to 91st in any of the racks, I don't think. I might be wrong. But Bankster now with a chance to seal the deal here. Yeah, there are just certain shots that Bankster's wary of because he's not a regular Cowboy player, never has been. So there's just the odd shot he's just avoiding. Oh, by the way, I did a little video last night. It's on YouTube, but Steve was on the stream last night, and he forgot to mention, or he failed to mention, that he had updated Cowboy. So now Cowboy can be played in a match room with a race to whatever you want, up to a maximum of 100, just like it would be in 9-ball. So anybody that wants to play Cowboy in a match, race to 2 or race to 3, you can now do it.
That's games or points?
That's games. Yep, games. It was all, games in Cowboy were always limited to 1 in the online game. But now you can play a match. Well, Tornado Tam has woken up. He's online.
Good morning, Tam. Yeah, I'll have to leave you in not too much longer. I actually have to go into work.
Yeah, not a problem. All I wanted to do was to check that you can get into the place, so now you won't have a problem. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
That's you set up. By the way, there's a big match on tonight. Albinario against VP Monster. That's one not to miss.
Hopefully I'll be home for that one in time.
Well, anyway, thanks for joining us. And you have a nice day, as you guys say.
Okay, Hugh. Thanks. Yeah, I'll be your company whenever you want company. I like to listen to you and Steve.
Well,
and you do fine by yourself too.
You're more than welcome. As I've said to anybody that wants to do it, that you're fine. You're more than welcome. It's just getting you into the damn place that's half the problem. But well, we'll speak to you again soon.
All right. Have a good day, eh?
Right. You too. Take care. Bye. Now, are we back in time to see the end of this match? Well, good morning to Tam. I don't know whether you heard on the stream there, but you can now play Cowboy races to 2, races to 3, races to 5, races to 10, races to 15, races to 25, races to 50, races to 100. No, you couldn't. You could never do that in Cowboy. You might be. I'm not, again, not playing the offline game. I can't remember whether you can. I said in my little video I did on YouTube last night that you can, but that you couldn't. I'm not sure whether you can or you can't, but you can now. Certainly in the online game, you can certainly play a match now rather than just single racks all the time. Well, Bankster, is this going to be prolonged, this match? This match started at 6 AM, so we're approaching 2.5 hours. I missed the start of it because, believe it or not, I was putting the bin out, but I spent 2 minutes trying to actually open the wheelie bin lid because it was frozen. I had a bag of garbage to put in it, but I couldn't get the bloody thing open. So there's me at 6 AM this morning, finally remembering that the bin men come today, and I thought, right, I better get this bin out. So I'm standing outside, bloody freezing cold, and trying to take the lid off this bloody bin. And then when I got back in and got into VP4, it just dawned on me that these two guys were in the tournament match. Forgot all about it. Oh, the offline Cowboy has, right, well, that's certainly one thing that's been always missing in the online, but now it's been resolved. And Steve forgot to tell us about it last night in the stream. So again, as I was saying to Slim there, who finally found his way into the commentary booth, we have a big match tonight, not to be missed, between Albinario and VP Monster. Something's got to give tonight. xgamez trying to defy the laws of gravity and physics there. And, well, bankster has a stun onto the 3. And with the pace in this stun shot, trying to bring the 5 ball down the table towards the 1. Didn't quite give it enough legs. But he's got the 3 to the 1 to get him to 99. If he plays the 5 to the 1, the danger here is potting the 5. If he's going 2 rails to the 3, you know, well, he's trying just to stun it dead, and that will work. Well, you know the shot I'm playing here. I'm always going. If I can overcut the 1, fine, but I would much rather leave the 1 there as an outshot. Well, that is an outshot. He's got the hit, and this match may well be over. Let's have a look. Well, the force follow is on into that corner. He's trying to find a line. That might be it. Nope, didn't get it. Didn't get it far left enough on the object ball. Never easy when you're hampered over a ball, but look at where the 1 ball is now. And it's hasta la vista, sayonara. Thank you very much, and well done to bankster eventually, because this in-off is simply unmissable. A blind man with a wooden leg and 1 arm is going to get out here. So bankster goes through by 3 racks to 1. He will now face Hervé on or in the next round on that 1 loss side, and xgamez is back to the game of doubles in Cowboy. So quick confirmation. Big match tonight between Albinario and VP Monster, 7 PM GMT. We've also got Bill and Fast Eddie early on Friday morning. Oh, sorry, tell a lie. I'm mixing myself up here. It's 3 PM on Monday. Now, I'll be finished work at 2 on Monday. I'll be racing home. I might not be there at the start, but I will get that match. I will get most of it. So that's what we've got to look forward to. We've got the final league matches on Saturday night before the playoffs. I have been subbed or subbing for Fast Eddie, who doesn't think he can make it because he's moving home, so I'll be there for that. And in the meantime, I am starving, so I'm looking for something to eat. So there wasn't many people online. I think you made it up to like 4, Tam, this time in the morning. So thanks to any of you who's still watching. I will bid you good morning, take care, and I will see you again soon.